special because it is the first video in a new series that I'm starting on my channel. The series does not have a definite title right now, but by next month's video, I plan to have that all figured out. So, yeah, check out the description of this video for my new schedule. I post every Wednesday at 2 p.m. my time, and then the last Friday of every month, I'm going to upload a new video in my new series. Also, check the description for next month's video, topic, title, whatever. These videos are gonna be like unsolved mystery types of videos, but they're gonna have a more like historical side to them, or just kind of more of a sci-fi or horror story type of feel is what I'm going for. Excuse me. Please like this video and leave a comment if there are any mysteries you would like me to cover. And also, please subscribe to my channel. But thank you so much if you already are a subscriber. Also, just two more things before I really start this video. I just wanted to say thank you to Lily Whispers ASMR. She has a really great Unsolved Mysteries series on her channel, and I will link her in the description as well. But she's basically the person that inspired me to start my series, so thank you to her. Also, just a quick warning. Some people may find this type of content disturbing. Mysteries that I cover may involve murder and have a suspenseful or frightening theme. So, viewer or listener discretion is advised. Alright, let's begin. This episode explores the lost colony of Roanoke. The lost colony of Roanoke was a colony that attempted to become established on Roanoke Island, which is located on the Outer Banks of North America. This was England's first attempt to colonize. The colony was made up of 116 people and were recorded missing in August of 1590. Just some general background information before we get started. Queen Elizabeth I wanted to expand territory, so in late 16th century, attempts were made to establish a permanent English colony in North America. The Queen Sir Walter Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh to lead this expedition. The Roanoke colony, aka the Lost Colony, was established in 1585 on Roanoke Island, which today is known as Dare County, North Carolina. Colonists disappeared 3 years after their last shipment of supplies from England, and this was during the Anglo-Spanish War from 1585 to 1604. The colony's disappearance gave rise to the nickname the Lost Colony. There is no evidence, no conclusive evidence as to what happened to the colonists. Okay, so it all began on March 25th, 1584. Queen Elizabeth I granted Sir Walter Raleigh a charter for the colonization of an area in North America. The Queen and Raleigh thought that the expedition would provide riches from the New World. The charter from the Queen stated that Raleigh should discover, search, find out, and view such remote, heathen, and barbarous lands, countries, and territories to have, hold, occupy, and enjoy. It should be noted that Raleigh had never visited North America, although he had led some expeditions to South America's Orinoco River Basin in search of the legendary Golden City, El Dorado. So this was new territory to Raleigh, literally. It should also be noted that at this time, England was preparing for the Anglo-Spanish War, and Raleigh was not only appointed to lead an expedition to North America's east coast, but he was also directed to create a base on or near Roanoke Island for privateers. Privateers were privately contracted, like captains or people with boats who would go out sailing and attack Spanish boats, where they would kill the people and steal their treasures. So Raleigh was supposed to make a base for them in there, where they could stop and recharge or whatever, grab supplies and stuff like that. So, on April 27th, in 1584, Raleigh dispatched an expedition for North America, led by Philip Amadez and Arthur Barlow. They were instructed to explore the east coast of North America. established relations with local tribes such as the Secotans and the Croatans. Barlow returned to England with 2 Croatans as relations were going well. The 2 Croatans were named Matteo and Juan Chesi. I don't know, I'm sorry. These 2 natives told Rayleigh of politics and geography of the area. With this information, Rayleigh organized a second expedition and appointed Sir Richard Grenville to lead this expedition. Grenville's fleet left England on April 9th, 1585. He had 5 main ships, but it took them a long time to get to North America because they got separated by a bad storm. Finally, in early July of 1585, the initial exploration of the Outer Banks of North Carolina was complete. But during this exploration, tensions arose between the natives of the village of Aquascogoc and the colonists. The European settlers blamed natives that they had stole a silver cup during one encounter as retaliation for possibly stealing this silver cup. Settlers sacked and burned the village. So supplies were running low and tensions with the natives were not going so well, but despite all of this, Grenville decided to leave the settlers, and he promised that he would return. In April of 1586. So Grenville and a small group left on August 17th of 1585. Grenville left 108 men to create a colony at the north end of Roanoke Island. The 108 settlers that were left behind ended up building a fort on the island. However, it is no longer there today. April 1586 passed with no sign of Grenville or his relief fleet, and in June of 1586, Native Americans took their revenge on the fort for the previous destruction of their village. Although the colonists were ambushed, they were able to defend the fort. Soon after this attack, Sea Captain Sir Francis Drake stopped at the colony, just completed a successful successful raid in the Caribbean, and he offered to return some colonists back to England. Several colonists accepted his offer. So they left, and shortly after they left, Grenville's relief fleet showed up. However, the colony was found abandoned, so Grenville went back to England. He left behind a small detachment of 15 men this time. So now it's 1587, and Raleigh decided to dispatch a new group of 115 colonists. These colonists were sent to establish a colony on Chesapeake Bay. Raleigh hired John White, who was an artist and a friend of Raleigh, to lead the expedition. John White had accompanied the previous expedition to Roanoke, so he knew a bit about the area, the politics, and stuff like that. While en route to Chesapeake Bay, White's fleet stopped to find the men that Grenville left behind the previous year. However, when White's fleet arrived on July 22nd in 1587, they found nothing except a single human skeleton. So they stopped on Roanoke to pick up the small detachment of 15 men, but they found no one, just a human skeleton. When no one was found, the colonists were ordered to establish the new colony on Roanoke instead of continuing to Chesapeake Bay. The motives behind this decision are still unclear to this day. White reestablished connections with the Croatans and other local tribes. Although some natives were still angered by the past encounters. So at this point, some tribes are friendly, some tribes are not, and it's not very safe for colonists. A colonist by the name of George Howe was killed by natives while crabbing alone one day in a river. So it began to feel unsafe to the colonists, and was hard for them to really gather food and the supplies they needed to survive. The colonists persuaded White to return to England and get help. So he wanted White to explain to Raleigh the colony's desperate situation and return with supplies and more colonists. So White agreed to leave, and he left behind the 115 colonists, including his daughter and newborn granddaughter. His granddaughter was named Virginia Dare, and she was the first English child born in the Americas. So White sailed for England in late 1587. 1847, White returned to England to get help and planned to return to Roanoke as soon as possible. However, that didn't happen. He encountered delays due to weather, as well as the Anglo-Spanish War. White was instructed to use his ship to battle against the Spanish Armada, leaving him unable to return to the colony. He attempted to return in the spring of 1588, but that proved to be unsuccessful, and he had to return to England again. Due to the continuing war, White was unable to return to the colony for 3 years. White finally got the chance to return to the colony on August 18th, 1590, which also happened to be his granddaughter's 3rd birthday. However, he found the settlement deserted, with no trace of the 90 men, 17 women, or 11 children that he had left behind. Their houses had been dismantled in an orderly fashion, and there was no sign of a struggle or a battle. The only clue that was left behind was the word Croatoan, which was carved into a fence post, and also the letters C-R-O were carved into a nearby tree. Colonists had been instructed to also carve a cross to indicate if an absence was due to force, but no cross was found. So White figured that the colonists had moved to Croatoan Island, which is now known as Hatteras Island, but he was unable to construct a search due to a massive storm. The massive storm made things difficult, and supplies were running low, so White had to return to England yet again. And that was kind of it. Like, he had to go back to England, and then no one knew what happened to the colonists. 12 years passed before Rayleigh decided to figure out what happened to his colony. In the year 1602, Rayleigh hired Samuel Mace to lead a new expedition. First, Mace and the crew stopped on the Outer Banks of North Carolina's islands, where they gathered sassafras to sell back in England. Finally, when they were beginning their search for the colonists, the bad weather they were experiencing had become more severe, and Mace and the crew had to return to England. By this point, Rayleigh had been arrested for treason bodies of over 100 people have never been located. So that was always weird, because it's not like people didn't try to find them. They kind of did try to look for these people, and there was no sign of them. Even today, when historians try to locate any remains from people of this colony, they have been unsuccessful. So it's almost like these people just vanished. You would think that if 100 people died in a battle or something like that, then there would at least be a few artifacts of their remains, but there's been nothing. So that's one weird thing about this. Just some ideas about what happened to these colonists. There have been claims that a Native American chief slaughtered the colonists. There's even been a chief, I forget his name, who said that he was responsible for their deaths, but was never able to provide any evidence to support this. Some people think that the colonists integrated into local tribes, and they just lived out their lives and kind of blended into the tribes and that way of life, so they could, have their remains just mixed in with natives, and kind of just assimilated into that culture to survive. Others speculate that the colonists were killed by the Spanish, or that they just starved to death. But again, no bodies of all these people, so we don't really know. But that is pretty much the story of the Roanoke colony, aka the Lost Colony. If you have anything to add, please leave it in the comments. I would love to read it. Or if I said anything that was a mistake or not true, all of this information I gathered on my own and tried to do it with 100% accuracy, but we're all human and make mistakes. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and also if you do have a suggestion for a future episode, please